Vlog number 87, checking in outside of the town of Tonopah, Nevada, where I think I've been before on this vlog, but I've never done anything like I'm doing right now. I'm covering for Channel 8 the Vegas to Reno. It's actually closer to the Beatty to Dayton, but that doesn't sound as cool. The longest off-road race in the United States, and it's something that happens every year at this time. These off-roaders make this marathon trek. And it's obviously not a case where they start them all at once. They start them sequentially, and then they tally up the time later. So you don't know who wins until the next day, basically. But I actually ran into a guy at the Peppermill Poker Room who was going to be in the race, interviewed him, and now I drove down here about 4 hours to try to get some of this video of these guys in action. Also shot a Silver State sites over at Candelaria. So it's been interesting. Hoping I can get some better video and include that in the segment, which will be up on colotv.com in the not too distant future, and we'll have that for you there. So, kind of an expedition of a day here, but a fun one with regards to my actual day job. But let's shift over to my other source of money, though it hasn't been that great of late when it comes to making money. Cash game poker at the Peppermill, 3-5, no limit hold. So we head to Peppermill on a Friday night to find the room under renovation. This is something they seem to be doing about every 5 years. When it first opened back in 2011, it had a brown and tan theme. Then it was changed to that red theme in about 2015 or so. And as you can see now, they've adapted to a black, gray, and gold style, which I must say, I think is the best. Either way, we jump into a newly formed game, and the first hand comes when under the gun limps, and I pick up pocket kings +1 and make it 25. It folds back around to under the gun, who makes the call. So with 55 in, the flop is queen 9-4 rainbow. Under the gun checks, and I bet 35 here, hoping obviously that he has a queen, which he clearly does not, as he snap folds. Next hand, we get a raise to $10 from under the gun +2, and I'm under the gun 3, and I look down at, once again, pocket kings. I only make it 3x here because I just didn't think he was that strong given the fact that he made it 10. He ends up calling though, so with 65 in, it comes king 10-3 rainbow, giving me top set. He checks, and I elect to slow play it here, hoping that he will come close to catching up. The turn is another 3, improving me to a boat, and now he ends up betting out for 30. Now, he's not the type of player who tends to just make a pure bluff, but he is the type that would likely call a raise with a decent amount of hands. So with that in mind, I make it 85. He ends up claiming to have had a 10, and then folds the hand. Next hand, we get 4 limps, and I am on the button with 5-7 of spades, and I opt for the little league move of over limping here. The blind checks. So with 30 in, it comes king jack 8 with 1 spade, but it ends up getting checked through. Now, if I could hand pick one card out of the deck, it would be the one that came on the turn here, the 6 of spades, giving me the open-ended straight and flush draw. Now, one player ends up betting out, and I am not going to just play passively here after getting the perfect turn card. My raise ends up not getting called, and we take down yet another one, which takes us in to the most interesting hand of the day by far. We get a button straddle from a guy who's been doing a lot of that, and 2 guys call that straddle, and I'm in the hijack with 6-7 of diamonds, and I thought it wasn't a bad spot for a squeeze, so I make it 60. The straddle quickly calls, as does one limper. So with 185 in, the flop is ace 7-3 with 2 spades, giving me middle pair. Now it gets checked to me here, and I thought about betting, but I elected to just check it back here given the fact that there are 2 opponents in this hand. The button doesn't check, however, but he doesn't bet big either. He only makes it $60, less than a third of the pot here. Now +2 calls. So I decide to go ahead and come along here with what could still be the best hand, but getting a great price nonetheless. So a 365 in, the turn is the 4 of clubs. Now that does give me some added equity, but it ends up getting checked through, so I don't have to put any money in. And the river is a really interesting card. It comes the 6 of hearts, giving me 2 pair. So front door spades brick out here, and there is a one-liner to a 5. Now +2 wastes no time, and he fires $190. Now the good news for me is I know the player a little bit here, and he could easily have a 5. I will acknowledge that because he plays a lot of hands, but I still thought that was somewhat unlikely given the fact that he called 60 pre-flop. But the thing that stood out to me was just how quickly he bet when that river card came out. It almost was like he didn't even see the fact that there was a one-liner out there. So that was my initial read on the fact. And if you would ask me to speculate as to exactly what he had, I would have told you that I thought he had a weak ace and he didn't know if it was any good, so he wanted to bet. That would have been my prediction. I opt to call. The button folds, and he says, 1 pair. Now, it wasn't the ace, as I suspected. He just had a pair of 7s, and he had the 10 of spades to go along with the 7 of spades. So he did have quite a flop with a pair and a flush draw, but he bricked out, turned his pair into a bluff. I pick off the bluff and take down a $745 pot. Didn't play all that long after that and ended up racking up and booking a win. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition of the vlog as I check in one more time from the Vegas to Reno race, this time between the small towns of Luning and Mina, kind of the middle of nowhere, Nevada, covering the Vegas to Reno, which, by the way, it's been a fun shoot. So as always, hit the like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. I truly appreciate that. It helps out the channel a lot. And we'll see you back here next time.